Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide. Today we are checking out the latest update for the A6X and A5X platforms, and that is update 2.2, but I get it as a 2.2 on the A6X and as a 2.1.12 for some strange reason on my A5X, but I think that this is officially update 2.2. So yes, update 2.2 for the Supernote AX platform, and also the official revision and testing of the writing latency on the A6X, because there were some questions about that. A6X, after the last update, not this one, but the one before, where the writing latency has been improved, I left my A6X as on an older OS iteration because I wanted to have it as a comparison, just how good of a job Ratta did on that last update. But then some people maybe misread or didn't really pay attention, but they were asking like, hey, does A6X have it as well? Well, yes, of course it does. That was just a comparative result. But now that, the comparison is over, it's time to update the A6X. So I brought out the D.E.S.T.A, put the A6 in, and got the results. And I'm really happy to say that the results are exactly like spot on, down to the point of a millisecond, exactly the same as on the A5X. So now both A5X and the A6X have the writing latency of 24.6 milliseconds, which is absolutely fantastic. So the Suprnote AX series shares the second place as the second fastest writing latency devices out there, second only to the Remarkable 2, but not by much. It's an imperceptible difference between the two. So with that out of the way, now let's focus on the update 2.2 and see what other goodies are we actually getting from Ratta this month. Alright, so as I've shown, this is Indy's leg, so don't mind that. Oh. There's the other leg. Anyway, there's a lot of new features, adjustments, optimizations, and fixes that have been added in the latest update. Obvious and the big one is that now on both A6X and A5X platforms we have the landscape / half-page mode. Why do I say landscape / half-page mode? Because it's a feature that has been intelligently designed and implemented and simplified, and instead of you choosing a landscape mode or a half-page mode, they've actually figured out that it's one command and the device does it intelligently, and that's all you need. So here's a practical example. This is, of course, A6X is a smaller format, and as a usual issue that I always had on the Supernote AX platform was in the reader, as far as the PDF formatting capabilities goes, it was rather limited, because normally you would have just a trimming option and then it would automatically make it so you can confirm, and then it's a little bit better, but it's still not that good, right? So let me just reset this to the original. There we go. And now we have finally the thing that we need, which is you go to the options and you have the half-page view. You will notice that you don't have option to split to choose landscape mode individually. It's all encompassed in this half-page view, and the device actually determines what you need and does it brilliantly. So I just need to go half-page view, it flips it to horizontal or landscape mode, and my text is now a lot better. And also I have an indication, these little icons here, little fingers, it's basically when I tap and go to the next side of the same page, it's just a friendly way to tell me, hey, this is where you were, right? So now you can continue reading. And this is something that I really, really like how it works, especially the simplicity of it. And for any other device, this is exactly, as far as I'm concerned, how it should work, because if you determine, hey, this is a little bit too small, let me just flip it to this mode, and then you continue reading. I mean, how easy is this? And suddenly it becomes far more easily readable. No, it doesn't have the uber power and craziness of the Neo Reader on the Books platform, but this simple yet effective addition addresses one of the main concerns that I've had and main obstacles that I've had with the Supernote PDF reader, because I use a ton of PDFs and the formatting was a little bit of an issue here, because I would often use documents that are of different formats, small, and lack of the ability to actually format it and comfortably use it like this was a thing. But now that's a thing of the past. And it works exactly the same on the A5X. So you just go here and you go split page, flips it to the horizontal, and presto, there you go. And then it's even nicer and easier to read. So this edition, super simple implementation of a functionality that is incredibly useful, and it actually transforms the readability and usability of a small form factor device such as A6X quite considerably. So I'm really happy how this works. Initially, when I said that landscape mode / full page view, but I also mentioned that it's intelligent. And this is what I mean. So for example, if I open up a portrait document, the device itself notices, hey, this is the proportion and this is the orientation of the document, and I'm going to display it to you in a portrait format, which is great. Now, if I go into this document here, A6X is going to say, hey, this one is actually in landscape format, and I'm going to give it to you in that format. So the landscape / portrait format is automatic. I haven't found an option if you are able to change it or not, but I don't care really, honestly, because it works perfectly. It does exactly what I want it to. And in the landscape mode, it also works with a half-page view, and then you have this same kind of guideline where to follow where you've actually been. And it is able to, I believe that it remembers the settings. Let's switch this to half-page view here. All right, we have annotations, all good, okay. And now if I go back and choose Cavan and Hobbes, it has remembered the settings, right? So the documents retain settings, whether they are in full page view or in a half page view, which is also an excellent thing, because it doesn't mean that every time I go back to a document, I have to reset it up or anything like that. So that is a really proper way of implementing something and simplifying it. Yet again, Supernote and Ratta team does it. Yeah, I'm very impressed how this has been implemented, because I've seen different functionalities and how these things have been implemented on different platforms many times, and I haven't seen actually something like this, exactly like this, to be implemented. Yet it is by far the most functional and the simplest way of doing things. So really good job here. I've just literally discovered something new about the true implementation of the landscape mode. Look, if I'm in a landscape mode of this one and I just go like this, ta-da! So this is really cool, but this will of course depend on the app itself. So if I go to settings, the settings are not in landscape mode, they remain in portrait mode. If I go to, let's say, Kindle, what happens then? It will load in this mode, so it doesn't stay in landscape. Okay, so some of the stuff is in a landscape mode, some of the stuff is not in landscape mode. It does remember how it is, but we don't have notes that are in landscape mode. I don't think we have that. No, we have cover setting, move copy, and all that kind of stuff, so not there yet. I can only assume that this is just the beginning of the implementation, but so far it's a really nice thing that if you're just working with the documents, at the very least, that you have this option added here, and it looks like an introduction to a more robust system-wide landscape mode implementation. Right, so the next thing that should be a new addition is a different template. So if I go to the background layer, we should find one newly added, I guess, specialization? Nope, square. There we go, 5mm engineering grid. So if I choose that one and I apply it, there we go. So now you get 5 by 5, so we have 5 by 5, which is super useful for designing things. And the 5mm grid is truly screen 5, real world 5mm grid. So the template is different on the A5X than on the A6X, simply because you have more physical space. So on the A6X you will have 5 by 4 squares of 5 by 5, and here you will also have 5 by 5 squares, but you will have, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 by 6 squares, but the physical dimension of these grid line is exactly the same, which is the whole point. So that's a very nice thing to see. Calendar now supports the eraser gesture. So if I write something here and then just hold 2 fingers, then it works. And yes, you can either strike through, or if you so choose, you can do this as well. And the final new feature should be that when you go into the files, we should be able to have a list view now. How do we do list view? I guess I have to go into the folder and then I have a list. Okay, so we have this, this, and this. Okay, so we have big icons, we have a list view, and we have this kind of description view as well from before. Well, that's actually nice. Let's go into an actual folder that has, let's say, 5 items. There we go. So let's see how that looks like. Thumbnails, list view, details, or basically small thumbnails and the list view as well. So okay, so that's a welcome thing to see, because you have more files actually fitting on the surface of the screen, and it makes things a little bit easier to navigate. There's a couple of adjustments that have been listed as adjustments for the latest update. One of them is that overall the grayscale display mode has been adjusted. I'll check if that makes any difference for the MDO. And another thing that they've said was that in the documents, in the table of contents, you now have the ability to click to hide for page numbers, but I don't see where that might be. And it's not auto hide as before. So I'm really not sure where that is, because as soon as I tap anywhere, it's gonna, either go to the page, which is supposed to do, or if I click on a page number, nope, they just disappear. I don't know. So I'm not sure about that one. It says what it does, but I don't know how to activate it. So that one either isn't explained clearly, or maybe I'm doing something wrong. All right, and let's test out the grayscale changes. So now I'm in contrast, and no, it doesn't catch the light gray yet. So that's not even, but those are a little bit improved. So it's a little bit better, but I'm just really curious what happens to MDO when you flip it into horizontal mode on A5X. Okay, so this seems to be working good. Do hyperlinks work? Let's see. Yep, the hyperlinks seem to be working. And then you can I normally write now? Can I normally write now? Yes, I can. Oh, this is really cool. And then this is so sweet. The only thing I do notice is that one of the adjustments or fixes of this update is that better responsiveness to touch, right? And I've definitely noticed that on the A6X, but on the A5X, at least on this document, maybe because it's big, let's try a different document and see that. And no, for sure I'm having... Yeah, for sure it's a bit better sensitivity at the moment, at least on these two units, have a bit better sensitivity, touch sensitivity on A6X than on the A5X. So I can definitely notice the improvement they mentioned here. Not so much on the A5X. I still have some mist. I mean, it's better than it used to be, definitely, but you still do get an occasional, there we go, an occasional miss of a touch here. It's not a big deal, it's just something that I've definitely reacted to on the A6X, that it was really good, but yeah, it didn't really translate on the A5X, at least in this version. But then again, I got like a weird one, the 2.112, so maybe that has something to do with it as well. So maybe a 2.2 is actually doing all of these things on the A5X. I don't know at the moment, I'm just reporting what I can see and test here. Yeah, and let's see if I get the same, because yeah, you can see that the responsiveness, the touch responsiveness is really noticeably more convincing, or I'm more confident in that on the A6X, and it just works better. So now it's interesting to actually have a half page of the same exact document on the A6X, and absolutely far more yeah, less misses, so to speak. So let's see, yeah, everything triggers normally. If I go to here, and now suddenly MDO is extremely usable on the small format of A6X as well, without any need of anything. You just flip it to half page mode and start using it. This is really cool because it's so simple. You don't have to zoom in, you don't have to do any of these things. So this is pretty sweet. Now there's a list of optimizations that have been done or implemented in this version, and one of them is battery calibration scheme. So I don't know what that actually means. It doesn't give you any new options or anything like that. So I'm just thinking that that's the battery management and how it's optimized. Hopefully that means that you get even better battery life, but I haven't done any extensive tests to compare and to verify that one yet. The second one is what I've already talked about, which is the improved recognition of speed of gesture and eraser, and reduced rate of accidental touches. And that's definitely something that I've noticed here, because as I've said, you have for sure, let's go maybe to daily notes. Let's see the speed between this, and then I can just do it very quick. So this is something that was really good even before, but now it's even better, because the difference between writing and then erasing, it's literally just the amount of time that you need to decide, hey, I want to delete this, and by that time the device is already ready to receive your input of the eraser pen. So the implementation of it, of the gesture itself, feels a lot more robust in this version. Another optimization is that the mark files are now moved with and renamed along with the note associated documents or notes, which is a really good thing to have finally. They've mentioned also optimized temporary flickering of handwriting during writing, but that's not something that I noticed before, and I'm certainly not noticing it now. And another thing is that the calendar now supports editing of recurring events. So now let's see if I can add it to be a recurring event. So I don't have my Google or Outlook actually linked to this, so I don't know how to verify that, as I don't have it as a recurring event. I don't see an option here how to make it a recurring event. I just have start and end, and that's about it. So yep, I don't know, I'm gonna trust them at their word, but that's not something that I am able to test out here at the moment. All right, so update 2.2, Ratta continues to impress, and it is really, for me, I'm a developer and I like thinking about these things, and I'm really impressed, and I love seeing a good, well-designed solution to a problem. And that one is revised and simplified down to something that makes so much sense, and it just works. And this is like a textbook example for me, what Ratta did with the landscape / half-page approach. That is really a brilliant move, something that keeps the platform as simple as it gets, so anyone can figure out how to use it. You don't have to be tech savvy, you don't have to dig around to find the option, you don't have to, fiddle around with anything. No, you just click a button and the device does the rest. And to top it all off, a landscape mode that just works, right? So no, the device doesn't have an accelerometer, but it doesn't need it really, because it is intelligent. The OS is intelligent. It understands, hey, this document is wider than it is taller, therefore it's most likely landscape. He goes into the landscape mode. Simple once you get there, you know? But we have this whole array of devices of competitors for the Supernote platform, and not one of them actually utilizes this solution. I was impressed before with Ratta, what Ratta is doing, and the mentality and just thinking behind the Ratta's development team. I was blown away by the last update, and I'm blown away now again in a positive way. So they're knocking it out of the park. And especially for the A6X, that landscape/half-page format transforms the usability of the device. And one of the weak points, for me at least, was the limited formatting abilities of the PDF documents on either of the devices is now gone because of this new feature, and it just works. That is quite an impressive thing to see. Now let's see what other things they have in plan, and I think from the roadmap that they had is that we might be able to look forward to inserting notebook pages into the documents, so it has that functionality as well with that the Remarkable 2 and Mobi Scribe have, which would be fantastic. And let's see the race who is the first developer that will implement the external hyperlinks, not external to URLs, but I'm more thinking like object hyperlinks, that you can hyperlink from a document to a specific page of a notebook, and that you can hyperlink from a notebook to a specific page of a document instead. So the first one who manages to do that will have the most functioning device out there. In my opinion, if anyone is able to do that properly, like truly properly, that it works, that it's designed well, that it's tested well, and all of this, I think that's Ratta. So I hope that that's what we see in 2022 on the Suprnote AX platform. But so far, they're just adding the value to these devices continually, and that's a beautiful thing to see. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification bell down in the description down below to get notified when new videos come out on the My Deep Guide. Also remember to check out the My Daily Organizer, which is now even more functional on smaller A6X because of that landscape format. But yeah, it's a yearly, monthly, weekly, quarterly, daily organizer that has helped and is helping a ton of people, which is super awesome, and I'm really happy about that. And it might be something that helps you organize your daily work, chores, thoughts, or whatever it may be. So check out the playlist down below in the description and see the videos and see if that's a product that might suit you or not. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay peaceful, stay healthy, and see you in the next video.